What up? Ichigo Kingsley here. Been a while, but I moved. I got an actual house now, so that's nice. Out of the apartment, but yeah. So it's been a while. The last video was Grimmjow and Obito. I hope you guys like that. Grimmjow definitely scales higher than Obito. I just want to get that point across in the last video. I just have a lot of issues with certain people making claims that how Aizen and Yuha fought. They didn't really destroy anything bigger than a couple buildings, and then I've been hearing lately that down players are saying that they're not even building level, and we obviously know, most of us at this point have accepted Bleach as a pretty powerful verse. I'm not saying that characters are universal in the fucking beginning of it, but we eventually get there. Anyway, so this is going to be a Grimmjow power scale. I just kind of want to solidify him a little bit more for people that don't really know about Grimmjow and what he can actually do and how strong he is. Because he's in Bleach for quite some time. So let's dive in. When we first see Grimmjow, he fights a Bankai Ichigo. And at the time, we know Ichigo had beaten Byakuya, well, with his mask on, without he kind of equated to Byakuya, Bankai Byakuya at the time. So we easily can put Grimmjow at a captain plus level, because Ichigo was already at a captain level spiritual pressure, not even in his first Bankai, stated by Yukitake in the manga, that Ichigo had a captain-like spiritual pressure, and he didn't even go into his Bankai the first time. And Grimmjow and Bankai Ichigo's first fight was basically just Grimmjow beating the absolute hell out of Ichigo. Ichigo had nothing for him. He launched a Getsuga Tensho, and Grimmjow just tanked it like nothing. And this is also not 100% mastered Bankai Ichigo, or not even masked Ichigo. Didn't know how to use his mask yet. So, but it's still very impressive for Grimmjow to just come out of the blue and do that. And he's number 6 Espada, and this is base Grimmjow. So this would easily put Grimmjow above, already captains like Shikai Yamamoto. Shikai Byakuya, I would honestly put base Grimmjow above. I don't think that Byakuya would be able to deal with Grimmjow in the Soul Society arc I'm talking about. Not Espada arc, is Byakuya in the Espada arc, it's much stronger. But if we're comparing the Soul Society characters like Byakuya and Kenpachi in the Soul Society arc, base Grimmjow would easily throttle them, and potentially even Byakuya in Bankai, because again, he lost to a masked Ichigo when it was his first mask pullout ever. It was Hollow Mask. So base Grimmjow should tier above those characters in Soul Society, which are much faster than Light, if not baseline Light speed. Again, only because of the fact that Menos Grandes have statements in the novels that say Ceros are light base attacks. So if you take that for what it's worth, they could be baseline Light speed, if not relativistic to Light speed. Because it's stated in a manga, it isn't meaning that it is 100%. For instance, the Kurama statement where half the Nine Tails can turn the world to ash, impossible. It never happened. Nothing ever came close to happening like that in Naruto. Obviously, we know that. So there's things like that are kind of, you can't take them for the full what they are, but I mean, the Ceros can distort space. Like when Grimmjow fired off his Ground Cero, it distorted the space around it. So that could be tiered to light speed, because when Guy went 8 gates, it bent the space around him, and he was traveling at light speed plus. So there's a couple things we can go off of that would help the light speed feats. And I really do believe that Ceros are light base attacks, because if you have people saying that Kizaru's attacks are light speed and he's made of light, then that's another thing. And then light magic from Black Clover, people say that's light speed as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's light based attack. It's a light based attack. It should be at least relativistic to light speed, if not baseline light speed. And again, Grimmjow would tier much above light speed if he's beating up Bankai Ichigo after Soul Society arc, which characters showed light speed feats. Byakuya showed light speed feats. Ichigo did by dodging the millions of blades in Senwo and Sakura. Millions of them, and dodged them all. Easily light speed plus. So yeah, it's safe to say base Grimmjow is at least a few times faster than the speed of light. I've actually discussed this in a previous video, I would put him in like at least 5 to 10 times the speed of light. But so that's how fast base Grimmjow should relatively be. He should tier above, base arrows from Menos Grandes, being able to, he can spam base arrows and ground race arrows in his base form. And yeah, he did bend the space. He did distort the space of Las Noches when firing ground race arrow and after he fired it as well. So it's actually stated that it's not a good idea to fire a ground race arrow in Las Noches because it can potentially destroy it, which is at least bare minimum a small country level area. So again, for attack potency, Grimmjow is in the Espada arc a small country level destroyer. Being able to even spam these, I would say lowball. He's large island level in his base, and the Espada arc again, that's very impressive. You have characters that are not showing that in the Espada arc while Grimmjow is just casually doing this. So, and then as you know, he has a resurrection, which is a times 10 amplification on top of your stats. It is literally compared to a Bankai, stated in manga. So if you took that, small country level attack potency, you would times that by 10. Bare minimum, giving Grimmjow, I would say, large country level to continental levels of attack potency, just because of the fact, again, he can use Sarascaras, which amplifies the attack. And also, if his base ground race arrow can distort the space, imagine what his ground race arrow and his resurrection can do for destruction as well. If he, again, is destroying a small country and his base ground race arrow, times that by 10, he's going to destroy a much larger area than one of those. And if he can spam them, that's going to do a lot of damage. That's why I say continent on the safe side of things. But that's, again, a little towards the higher side of things. Being that he definitely would not be relative to Ukiura, so I'm not going to say that he's going to be calced near Lanza's or anything like that. He's not doing that. But he would be, his resurrection is at least large country level plus. It's in attack potency, and he is easily faster than Light in the Espada arc, as I've mentioned previously via other people in the Soul Society arc and what they have done. And so that pretty much solidifies him for the Espada arc being light speed, at least bare minimum, low ball. Honestly, to me, is extreme low ball. And base Grimmjow, resurrection Grimmjow easily is FTL plus. It's up to you how fast or than light he would be at that point, but I would say, again, at least dozens of times the speed of light in his resurrection. And then he would go on to fight Hollow Masked and Bankai Ichigo, so you would have Ichigo 100 times over his base stats with his mask and his Bankai being out. And Grimmjow did do very well against him and actually put Ichigo on the ropes for a few times until the plot came in and stopped him. But yeah, it's whatever, I guess. So that's where I put with Grimmjow in that arc. In the 1,000-Year Blood War, though, he... and actually pause. I just want to solidify light speed one more time. Edernero, who I think is number 8 Espada, dodged light when Rukia broke a building and light came out right through the hole, and he dodged light instantaneously, and it's light itself. So yeah, there's just that quick touch on why base Grimmjow would be way above light speed. Another cool ability I forgot to mention, he can mess with intangible beings and objects. So for instance, the Kamui ability, he can mess with that ability, and he can go to other dimensions via the Dreskor, one of the tools the Ironcars use to go into other dimensions. So yeah, he can definitely mess with people that can open dimensions. He can also follow them through. Intangible people he can also mess with, and objects. So yeah, just think about who that can affect in other animes and what that can actually do, and how useful that can be in other animes. So the 1,000-Year Blood War, though, he has a couple showings. I'm not sure how much more stronger he'd get, but I would easily solidify the Continental Plus attack potency because he rips Askin-Lock Nivar's heart out while he's in. That's a lot to say. Askin-Lock Nivar's heart out while he was in his Vol standing, which his durability would be extremely high. He was fighting Yodorichi and Bankai Urahara and withstanding their attacks. So that's why I'm going to say Grimmjow should at least be low-ball Continental Plus in the 1,000-Year Blood War, because he would be much, much, much stronger than he was in the Espada arc just in his base form. So, and then you have his Resurrection, which again, it's a time stamp, so honestly, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say Continental Plus to like low multi-continental at the resurrection state. Being able to fire off multiple ground race arrows, spam the ground race arrow, Oscaros, things like that. And we're going to touch on the Can't Fear Your Own World novels. He actually fought Hikone and Ginjo, which are both Soul King candidates. And this is going to get a little touchy with some of you guys, but the Soul King passively holds together the Bleach cosmology, and this is actually stated multiple times throughout the Thousand Year Blood and other parts of the manga. And when the Soul King does die, Earth Realm, Wakamundo, and Soul Society all start to crumble. Things start to just be destroyed in all the realms. The Soul King literally passively just chilling holds together the Bleach cosmology, and without it, if he falls, it falls apart. So if Grimmjow is fighting people that can be candidates for this kind of passive ability, that's very, very strong if he's fighting these people. And Ginjo has been stated to be stronger than Hikone and been able to suppress Hikone. So if, again, Grimmjow's fighting these people that are Soul King plus candidates, and they would be the Soul King plus their, Hikone's and Ginjo's powers added on top of the Soul King powers. So it's pretty insane to think about how strong actually Grimmjow would be. Multi-continental is easily, I would put his attack potency would be in the continental, the multi-continental, in the Can't Fear Your Own World novels easily, if not a little bit higher, tiering him to Hikone and Ginjo, who can passively hold together 4 different dimensions at one time. So, I mean, if you want to say Ginjo or Grimmjow can be planetary plus, I guess fighting Hikone and Ginjo wouldn't be too far-fetched in the novels, but I feel like in the Espada arc and the Thousand Year Blood, he definitely would only be multi-continental attack potency and massively faster than light in the Thousand Year Blood and faster than light in the Espada arc easily with what I've stated earlier in the video. But thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys enjoy.